So Kanye is spinning out again. He popped up on Twitter, and I'm going to call him Kanye because that name just communicates better. The name Ye is stupid. And I'm going to call it Twitter because the name just communicates better. The name X is stupid. But anyway, Kanye pops back up. He starts ranting again. This has been happening sort of over the course of the past few days. And this has happened before. Pretty much all of Kanye's like spiral sessions start with Twitter and Instagram too, I guess. But he almost always starts by popping up on Twitter, saying some random shit, going with the sort of like inspirational Kanye angle. But then it just gradually gets darker and darker. And I think like the last 3 or 4 times that Kanye has crashed out, it started with him just randomly popping up on Twitter. And I know that we're all like sick of hearing about Kanye at this point. There's really not that much to say at this point, except for the fact that I think because of where we're at and the fact that you could call it the Kanye coalition, Trump and Elon and MAGA in general, is at the wheel. I think that it makes Kanye's antics and his personality a little bit more relevant, especially because he just keeps going on these cyclical, manic cycles. And so that's to me what it represents when he pops up on Twitter again, is that he's all of a sudden back in the manic part of the cycle. And it looks pretty much the same every time. He's bragging about himself. He's talking about how he's a superhero, the coolest person in the world, and y'all can't tell me shit. Y'all can't tell me shit. That sort of thing. But this time he's decided that he thinks Puff Daddy should be free. He said free Puffy, and went on a sort of larger rant about cancel culture. Chris Brown he threw in there. He also in the past has mentioned Bill Cosby being innocent, that sort of thing. So, he's done this numerous times. He hasn't really hidden this part of his, worldview, that he seems to think that these guys who do this horrible shit just can't possibly be guilty. R. Kelly as well. And to me, what it shows is that I think what really inspires Kanye at this point is the idea of powerful people who do whatever the fuck they want. Powerful men who do whatever the fuck they want. And you could even see that in his praise of Hitler, really. And it just seems like his thought process is that like a person who's that powerful, a person who's at the pinnacle of culture or society or whatever, can do no wrong, and that all of the bad things that a person who has a lot of power might do are just weapons used against them by the less powerful people that don't want to see them succeed. And so it's a reflection, I think, of Kanye. Kanye knows that he, has a lot of behavior in his past that people could start talking about or cancel him for at any given time. A lot of it was probably hidden behind NDAs or that sort of thing. But, I think really that's why he relates to these figures. Anybody from Donald Trump to literally Hitler to Puffy or whatever. I think he's inspired by men who do very terrible things and harass and assault women and then go on to be very powerful and successful. And so that's why he's sort of idolizing these figures. And it's really nothing new, except for the fact that now not only is Trump in power again, and the sort of type of figures that Kanye likes are fully empowered, but it has become such a dark vibe. And I think that that's really the type of environment where Kanye thrives. And so one thing that'll be interesting to see is how much he gets embraced by the current MAGA movement. Obviously, MAGA has plenty of Nazis and just various types of white supremacist anti-Semites and that sort of thing within it, especially because of Elon and Twitter and what he's done and basically making it a cesspool for those type of people. So in a way, Kanye is more at home on Twitter than he's ever been now. And obviously that audience of people is going to rally behind Kanye. That's the audience of people that rallied behind him last time he did this, when he was ranting about Hitler and that sort of thing. And so it'll be interesting to see how far that goes, because Trump, obviously him and the MAGA movement have a fair amount of leeway to be openly anti-Semitic, like Elon's Nazi salute, and then the Anti-Defamation League coming out and saying, well, hold on, that wasn't a Nazi salute, that was blah, blah, blah. I mean, this is the group that calls pro-Palestinian teenagers like Hamas terrorist sympathizers. And yet when Elon Musk throws up a literal Sig Heal, they don't say anything about it, because they recognize that regardless of whether Elon Musk is an anti-Semite, he still benefits the movement. Regardless of if Trump is a casual anti-Semite or just all-around racist, he's still good for the movement. So whether or not Kanye will be embraced by the new version of this MAGA coalition will be interesting to see. I doubt it. I think Kanye has really marginalized himself at this point, and that's part of the vibe you get from these rants, is that at this point he's kind of just ranting from the outside. It used to feel genuinely subversive when he would pop up on Twitter and start, saying crazy things, because Kanye was so deep in the industry. He was still one of the industry darlings, honestly, for a long time. Even after the initial MAGA hat controversy, Kanye was still very well regarded in the music industry. And it was only the recent thing, 2 years ago now, with the, going after the Jews, that really alienated Kanye. And because it was just so far. And I mean, he literally was praising Hitler. I mean, he wants to make it about oh, see, once you go for the Jews, that's the one thing you can't go for. And it's the dude just fully spiraled out so bad that it made even some anti-Semites like Trump inclined to just be fuck this guy, whatever the fuck this guy's got going on. And so that's what I remember from the last time Kanye and Trump were associated with each other was when they dined at Mar-a-Lago with Nick Fuentes. Kanye West brought Nick Fuentes to Mar-a-Lago. And as I recall, Trump took to Nick Fuentes a lot, probably because Nick Fuentes was sucking his dick the whole time. And, I'm sure spewing a little bit of hateful rhetoric, but probably not. Probably mostly just praising Trump. And so that's obviously the kind of thing that Trump likes. But whatever Kanye was doing at that meeting, he supposedly got screamed at and shouted down by Trump. So as far as I know, that was the last actual interaction that they had. And one thing about Trump is he doesn't really seem to care if he has had some kind of dispute with somebody or if somebody has said horrible things about him. I mean, Trump's own vice president once compared him to a Hitlerian figure. And there's quite a few people like that in Trump's orbit, actually, because really all he wants is them to pledge loyalty. So whether or not they have gotten into some kind of dispute doesn't matter so much to him as if they display some kind of spinelessness. And so that's why, in a way, Trump and Kanye are kind of like two magnets that will never meet, because Kanye, even though he might want to show genuine fealty to Trump and be willing to do so, I don't think he has it in him to capitulate literally the way Trump tends to like. I don't think Kanye is going to be let back into the club anytime soon. He posted pictures of him and Elon chatting, I guess he's in contact with Elon. I'm sure Kanye loved the Sieg Heil and all that. But even Elon, I don't see Elon letting Kanye back in the club anytime soon either, because, Kanye is just such a wrecking ball. And I can see Kanye getting into a position of some kind of influence, like maybe they have a meeting together or something, him and Elon. I can sort of see that. Or something similar that happened last time with Kanye at the White House, where he came and just sort of ranted at Trump for like 20 minutes straight or whatever it was. So something like that might happen again. But the real important thing to keep track of here is that this is the beginning of a manic cycle on the part of Kanye. He's done this before, and we should not underestimate Kanye's ability to take this further than we think he will, or further than we think it's like possible to take it. I mean, you know, it's easy to say what more is there to say. He went all the way to Hitler last time, and you know, I think the reason he did that in large part was because that's about as far as you can go. And I think Kanye, in his brain where he thinks he's living in the Matrix, felt like going for that one thing that you're not supposed to say, that something magical was going to happen when he did that, and he was going to become king of the universe or whatever. And so I think that not happening and him actually being alienated, not just from the industry but from a lot of his friends, kind of knocked him into the lower part of the cycle. For anybody who doesn't know, that's how bipolar works. It goes in cycles of mania and depression. And so while Kanye is known to be a person who's just always chaotic, always causing problems, yelling at people, that sort of thing, it is, at least on the public stage, pretty easily trackable to this sort of manic cycle type of pattern. And that's what I was waiting for last time when he was popping off about Hitler and the Jews and all that. I knew that it was going to lead to a real crash at some point. And that is what seemed to have happened. I guess the music that he has released since then was either like during that part of it, or who knows what that even looks like. If Kanye actually gets depressed, or if he just sort of becomes a less public version of himself. But I wouldn't be surprised if after these manic episodes, you see some really scary, depressive behavior from Kanye behind closed doors. And that's where I'm worried for him. That's where I'm worried for this wife of his that he's parading around naked at the Grammys. I mean, all of this stuff is to kind of make a statement of power. He's trying to demonstrate his strength, that no one can control him. There doesn't need to be an underlying motivation or artistic intention behind these moves that he makes. All that matters is that it's a show of force. And the difference between Kanye now and Kanye then is that he does not have the force of the industry behind him. And so we'll see if it works for him to make a gambit to be accepted in the MAGA world once again. And if he is, it could lead to Kanye being significantly annoying for a long time. And chances are for the next 6 months or so, or maybe just a couple months, Kanye is going to be pretty annoying in any way that he can figure out how to be. It might just stay on Twitter, but probably not. We're probably going to hear more from him. And so I think it's something we should keep an eye on, because while Kanye projects this like superhero self-image, I think that these manic-depressive cycles, the heights that you see are equivalently contrasted by the lows that we don't see. And it genuinely does worry me for a guy like Kanye, and we should not take it out of consideration that he might do something seriously violent to himself or somebody else, or, you know, hurt himself or take his own life, God forbid. I mean, that's what I see when I see Kanye's behavior. It's so outlandish, and it's so like I've got nothing to lose, that, you know, at a certain point it might dawn on Kanye that even now still he does have things to lose, and causing himself to lose those things, you know, might cause him to genuinely take things too far. And the fact that he is praising people like Puffy, people who have violent histories. I mean, you know, even aside from the numerous rape rape accounts and all of the accusers of that when it comes to Puffy. You also have these videos of him like stomping women out in hotels. So for somebody like Kanye to say, oh, that's my brother, and everybody else is too afraid to say that we should rally behind him, I mean, that is what's really scary about it. What does it say about what Kanye has done in the past? And what does it say about what Kanye might have the potential to do in the future? And the fact that he is praising and worshiping this sort of ultimate power that he sees in guys like that is genuinely concerning. And so while it's easy to say, who cares about Kanye, stop paying attention to Kanye, to an extent, I kind of agree. But the reason I'm talking about this is because we should not underestimate Kanye's ability to do something truly horrific on the public stage for all of us to see.